Good morning, Cherries. Good morning, Cherries, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. And welcome to Live Jerry Cherry Sunday Special Mother's Day Edition, episode 227. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build a scale on guitar using half and whole steps. Let me say hello real quick to my friend here, Ashley Ireland. Hello from Busch Gardens, Tampa. Give you a round of applause. All right, love it there in Busch Gardens, Stanleyville Theater. It's amazing. So let's get into this here. This is going to be so cool, and it's so important to know here, you know, this half whole step, because it's how you build scales, and it's how you associate all chords together and everything. So let me give you a little close-up here of what we have of the guitar neck. So starting on the little E string here, if you go up chromatically, and what that means is, chromatically, is that it's a series of half steps right here. So a step is like this. Say the open E string right here, little E string. A step would be right here to the next fret. So a step is the same thing as a fret here. It's also referred to as a semitone. So you have the open E string right here. Just make sure you're in tune with me. Here's an E, a low E, E. If you just go up one fret or one half step, you have this next note right here, which is an F, E to an F. Also referred to as a semitone. Now you could also go down. If you're here on the F, go down to the F right here. So either way. Okay. So now let me show you something else here. Now that we know what the frets are and the semitones and the steps are, I have a little graph here that I borrowed from the net right here. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool chart. It's the musical alphabet, essentially. The musical alphabet is just A through G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it circles all over and around and around and around. It rotates around A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, on and on and on. On and on and on. It's an ABBA song. So really, those are just all the natural notes, and every note has a sharp as well, except for B and E. So if you look at this graph right here, you'll see that every note starting on the musical alphabet A has a sharp as you go up. And there's only 12 notes in the musical vocabulary. So as you can see, every note has a sharp in it. And look at it as like the white keys on the piano as well. Those are all natural notes. You're going to have a black key in between every letter except for B and C, and then E and F. As you can see on that graph, every note has a sharp except for B to C and E to F. And we'll get to that in a second. I'll explain that to you as well. So let's see here. This is really, really, really cool. And now what we're going to do is let's see, what are we going to do here? Okay, starting on the A string. I mean, we can play this whole thing starting on the A string. That's what's cool about it too. The A, if you go up one half step here, or a fret, or a semitone, however you want to say it, half step, since this video is about half steps and whole steps. And we're going to build a scale, but first, I feel like knowing this is like really, really important so that we can understand how to build the scales and how to build any scale based on this system. So if you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, all that groovy stuff. Hello, Days from France. Give you a round of applause. Thanks for popping in here with me for a little bit on Mother's Day. That is excellent. So we have an open A here. And according to this chart right here, what we're going to do is, if we go up one half step, look, we're on A sharp right there. If we go up again another half step, we have a B. If we go up another half step, we have a C. So look, there's no B sharp there. It just goes right to a C. Then another half step, you have a C sharp. Another half step, you have a D. another half step, you have a D sharp, another half step, you have an E, and look, once again, another half step, you have F sharp. So E to F, again, it's just a half step. F to F sharp is a half step up. You have a G, up a half step, you have a G sharp, and then up a half step, you have an A again. So that's all the 12 notes right there. A to A, chromatically. Octave. Arpeggio. So everything is within those 12 notes right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then back to the 1 again. And I don't want to hear it about any buzz on my guitar here. Because it is what it is. All right. I'll hear it. You can tell me. Whatever you want. But it is a Telecaster, and it's supposed to buzz a little, right? No. Happy Mother's Day to Dazed. To all you mothers out there, give you a round of applause. If it wasn't for you mothers, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here right now, right? And there's an old saying that says you can have lots of daddies, right? You have 1,000,000 daddies, but only one mother. So, all right. And so we went through that, up the chromatic scale right there, and those are half steps. So if a half step is just one semitone, so what's a whole step? Well, then a whole step would be 2 semitones. Maybe you don't know that. Well, if you didn't know it, now you know. So a whole step would be, if you look at that graph right there, a whole step would be from A to B. And another whole step would be B to C sharp. Nope, sorry. Half step would be A. Sorry, I'm going crazy here. A to B would be a whole step. Another whole step, would be B to C sharp. Another whole step would be C sharp to D sharp. So it just goes on and on. Like that would be a whole tone scale, actually, to jump ahead. These are all whole steps, which is a cool scale within itself. That's a whole nother thing. Just a whole step right there. So again, a whole step is just 2 half steps. So if you get from the A, here's 1 whole step. Skip 1, whole step. Skip 1, whole step. Skip 1, whole step. Skip a note, whole step. Skip a note, whole step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get 7 whole steps there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, there's 6 whole steps there. And even going down, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whereas there's 12 notes. I mean, you could do division, right? So it's 12 notes here, going up half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, counting the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 steps there. And if we double it up, it's 6 going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So half steps and whole steps. That's what this is all based on. We're going to get to building a scale here in a second, but it's all based on half steps and whole steps. And it really doesn't matter where you're starting from. It's all the same. Here is not the same day. Okay, so from France, excuse me. So it's not Mother's Day in France. Dazed. Here, this is not the same day. Okay, so when is your Mother's Day out there in France? I know you have a Mother's Day. Every country needs to have a Mother's Day, I think, right? So, what are you drinking out there? Before we get into the building of the major scale, we're going to have a sip of our favorite coffee or favorite beverage, whatever it is right here. Mine is a Italian espresso beans that I buy here in New York City. Well, actually, I'm in Brooklyn. A place called the Puerto Rican Exports Company, coffee company. It's on Bleecker Street, and I buy about a pound of the Italian espresso beans, and I grind them up myself, and I use a pour over to make the coffee because I hear it's the healthiest way. It doesn't really leave any. It filters out pretty good. Doesn't leave a lot of the grinds left over on the bottom of the cup. And it's pretty smooth too. Good to the last drop. Hopefully you're enjoying my telly right here. The Lord knows I am. All right, so getting back into it here. Let's go back to this camera right here. And let's see, there's a lot of value in knowing this, you know. You could see the relationships between the chords and notes by knowing this stuff right here. You know, knowing the distance between the intervals, which is really, really, really important. So Dave says in 2 weeks is Mother's Day there. In France. France. That is awesome. Je veux apprendre. I know like one word in French. Je veux apprendre means I want to learn, I believe. Or jolie fleur. Beautiful flower, possibly. To all my jolies fleurs out there. Now, how would you say beautiful cherry? That's what I should learn that. And okay. So let's check this out here. If we start here on the C major scale here, we can look at this chart right here, and we can start on the C on the A string, and we could build a major scale from the C just by this chart here alone. So a major scale really in C right here is going to make up all the chords of the diatonic key right here. Like C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminish, and C again. Or down here, A minor, B diminish, and C again. And that all comes from the major scale. Like this, starting C, scale. So excuse me 1 second. I have to blow my nose. This is terrible, but I have a cold. Better than sniffling the whole time. Hey, it's real life. It's live. Get used to it. It's disgusting, but I know. Okay. So essentially the major scale is a solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Just like it sounds. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. It's a solfege. That's the sound of the major scale. And that's what we're building here. So if you look at the C, a major scale is a series of whole steps and half steps. You can have a whole, half, whole, half. So you got C. The first whole would be, look, C to D. No, C to C sharp is a half step. D is a whole step. Okay, so that's the first interval from the C to the D. Is 2 half steps. Okay? So now from D to E is 2 half steps. Just like you can see that on the chart here. D, D sharp, E. 2 half steps. So from C to D is 2 half steps or a whole step. From D to E is 2 half steps or a whole step. Now from E to F is a half step because we've determined already that the major scale is a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So C to D, whole step, D to E, whole step, E to F, half step, F to G is a whole step because you have F, F sharp, G. G to A, whole step because you have G, G sharp, A to B, whole step because you have A sharp, B. And then finally, B to C, half step. So everything's a half step. You know, E to F is a half step. That's why we're in the key of C, because it's really simple. No flats or sharps in the scale degrees. E to F, half step. B to B to C, half step. B to C, half step. All right, so I can come there, huh? Yeah, to France? I would love to come to France. I mean, it's on my bucket list. Italy, France, for sure. Love to. Okay. So let's see. So we know how to construct the major scale. And the major scale is so important because, like I was saying, you build all of your chords off of the major scale. Right there. So, all right. And it is also a solfege that we build up there. And whole steps, half steps is how we're building this as well. So the C major scale going up horizontally is like this. It's C to C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. No flats, no sharps, no flats, no nothing. So that's the number one thing you have to remember right there. It's just the sound of the major scale, the notes, because there's only A to G, but we're starting on C, so it's going to be C to C. C, D, E, F, G, A, and then it goes around again, A, B, C. Or you can also count numbers, like the Nashville number system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because each one of these notes is going to be a number as well. C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, G is 5, A is 6, B is 7, C is 8 or 1 again. What was that? That was a piercing note, right? All C major, right there. So that's how you'd build the scale going horizontally. So any questions about this stuff? Any questions about this, please let me know. Here, happy to hang out with you on a Sunday for little bits. Thanks for hanging out here with me. Ashley, Ireland, and Dazed 3474. What do those numbers represent, by the way? I don't know. Getting over a cold here. Trying not to sniffle too much into the microphone. I know that's kind of disgusting, but we're live here, so deal with it. Coffee's so good. It's so beautiful out here today too. I think the weather is amazing. Can't wait to get out and do some stuff here today. Don't want to waste my whole day inside, but you're not wasting your day. You're spending time with me. Then you can go outside and do whatever you like to do. I know it's a little bit later in France, about 6 hours, right? 6 hours ahead? 5 or 6 hours? Major scale. right, going off the rails a little bit, but we're having a good time. 6 hours ahead. All right. So it's so cool and it's so important to know this stuff. So let's do a little review here again that we have here with the major scale. We're going to build this major scale, and it's so important. You can do this in every key. See, so it's not just C, it's anywhere all over the fretboard. You know, the essential thing that you have to know here is that's half steps and whole steps and what they are. Right there. And we take off this, not to get confused with this graph or anything. Some guy, good morning, happy Mother's Day. Give you a round of applause. All right, so good to see you. We need to know that chromatically, using this little E string right here, a chromatic scale is just going up in a series of half steps or one frets or semitones. It's all the same thing. There's 3 names for it. A half step, these are half steps. There's only 12, and there's 12 notes in the musical alphabet. Really, there's only 12 notes, like 12, they call it, 12 tone. And these are the 12 notes. It's no secret, it's no surprise. You're just going up chromatically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are all the notes in Western music right there. So it's not a lot to choose from. Actually, there's a lot you could do with these just 12 notes. Many, many lifetimes of things you could do with that right there, right? But we have to start now so that we can get there eventually. So they're half steps or they're frets. When someone says, hey, go up a fret or down a fret, going up is going up a fret. Here's going up a fret, 1 fret. Or go down a fret, that's going down a fret. That's another fret. If someone says, hey, go up a whole step, well, what's a whole step? A whole step is 2 half steps. Very simple. Half step is a whole step. So 2 halves is a whole. It's simple. It's like a pizza, right? You got a half a pizza, you got a whole pizza. A whole step would be going to the 2nd fret up. Another whole step, so you're just going to skip one. So here's a half step, half steps. How about whole steps? Whole step, skip one, whole step, skip one, whole step, skip one, whole step, skip one, whole step. It's like a whole tone scale right there. It's not like a whole tone scale. It is a whole tone scale. Those are all whole steps, by the way. Sound of a whole tone scale. It's kind of jazzy sounding. And those are just whole steps. It's easy to look at one string and just go, well, what is that? Well, I'm just going up a whole step. Or a half step. Back to the top again. Okay. Some guy been scratching the surface with microtones and the 22 even scale. Yeah. That's really a great question. Or it's not a question, it's a great comment. Is that 22, what he's referring to is most guitar necks. Some of them are 22 frets. Some of them are 21 frets. This one is, I believe it's 21. You could say, because here's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Right? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Most have 22. A lot of guitars have 22, which would be another note. Which would be a D in there. So it'll be this one. But I don't have that D note. If you have that, then you would have the extra D, and then you have another D sharp and an E, which would give you 2 octaves, complete octaves there. You know? Which I don't have right here. Octave would be like this. Say for the E major scale. You got the whole major scale from the open E string to the 12th fret right there. If I played it up here, it'd be harder. I'd have to bend and probably break the string. It would sound like this. But I had to bend up to get that extra. I bent up a minor third. I bent up from C sharp, which is my highest note, to this note. Right? Brutal. That's just fun. Am I still in tune? Close enough rock and roll? Close enough rock and roll. Close. All right. So yeah, that's the whole thing on that. So going back here to this graph, hopefully you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, hit that like button. So where'd the graph go? I thought I had it up there. I put you back up. It's this one. Here's the graph. Okay. So if I wanted to construct, say, a C major scale, we're starting on the C, using the same method. We have to know that a major scale is just a formula. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. You've learned this in middle school or elementary school. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We can even write a song about it. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. It's a terrible song. Whole, whole, half. So it's whole step, half step. What's that? Whole step, half step. Then whole step, half. Half. Whole step, half. I mean, it's really a simple formula. You got to memorize it. So starting on the C, we got whole, half, whole, half, whole, half. And that's how you get that sound. Major scale. And everything is based around, a lot of stuff, a lot of music is based around just this major scale. Most music. Maybe all the music you'll ever learn or play is based around that. Unless you get into some heavier jazz, and then it just changes a little bit. But it's based around this. Whole, half, whole, half. And that gives you these notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Or a solfege, which is a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. A real solfege, no matter what country you're in, France or whatever. Or you may say something different. You may say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. You might say si, do again at the end. I don't know. I've heard that from one of my friends on LinkedIn. David Ziegler, I believe. Not Zig Ziglar, the old motivational speaker, but David Ziegler. Ooh, I'm moving stuff around here on my workspace that I didn't want to move. Bear with me, this is live. All right, having a good time here today. And we're getting back to this. But let me read this awesome comment here from Days. I spent a good time watching this live video. I love your Fender guitar. As you know, I like to speak about specs. Yeah, specs are good. I'm into it also. Lay it on me. So, go back to this here. Cam here with this thing. So building this C major scale, really, really important here. You know, you got your whole step, half, whole step, half. You got C to D is a whole step. D to E is a whole step. E to F is a half step. F to G is a whole step. G to A is a whole step. A to B is a whole step. And B to C is a whole step. Or A to B is a whole step. And B to C, whole step. Now, why is this important? Because now you know the relationship between the notes. You can figure out the relationship between the chords, because C is going to be a major scale. Then the D is going to be a D minor scale. I mean a D minor chord. C is going to be a C major chord. D is going to be a D minor chord. E is going to be an E minor chord. F is going to be a major chord, F major. G is going to be a G major chord. A is going to be A minor chord. And then B is going to be a diminished chord. Something like this. Hard to get that one. And then C again. Right down here. Here's A minor. B, diminish. Or this way. C. A minor. B diminish. C major. D minor. E minor. F major. G major. A minor. B diminish. C major. So those are all those 7 chords of the diatonic key just by knowing the C major scale right there. Which is really, really, really cool and really important to know. So, all right. So, what did we forget here? What else? Any questions? Please let me know. And I do have a question for you I should have asked earlier. And that question is, how do you know how to build a scale? Like, what has been your thought process of it? You know, I know it's a series of whole steps and half steps here, but, you know, a lot of people don't know that. You might have your own philosophy or theory on how you build your scales. Maybe not necessarily the major scale, maybe other scales as well. And by knowing this formula, you could build any scale. You're not just stuck, you're not limited to just the major scale. By knowing the formulas, and that's all they really are, is formulas. And when you start to see this, you'll start to see that the modes and everything is based upon this as well. Because, you know, when you start on C, the formula of the C major scale or the C Ionian mode is the same thing. The Ionian mode. C, D, E. It's a formula of whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. You know, when you get into other things like say a Dorian mode, okay, that would be starting on the 2nd degree, D. It's the same thing going up the C major scale, but look how the formula is the same, yet it's different because you're starting on the 2nd degree. So starting on this D note would give you a whole step, half step. Okay, and that's how a minor chord is built right there. Because now you're only going up a minor third by stacking third, which is my last video that I did 2 weeks ago. I did a video on stacking thirds. That's how you build chords. So if you could see, the C, whole step, makes a major third. C to E makes a major third. Major chord. This D, continuing up the C major scale, look where it goes. It goes whole step, half step. So now D to F, that's a minor third. So now it's a minor chord. Right? So this whole formula from D to D would give you a Dorian scale. You know, of course, you're still in, it depends on what chord is underneath it. So if I droned a D, like here, this open D string, and I played the D from D to D, going up the C major scale, it would sound like a D, it would be a D Dorian mode. Check it out. Does that still sound like the C major scale to you? Probably not. I mean, it's the same notes, but it's got a minor sound. Hear that? Same notes. Now check this out. If I play the C major scale, happy. But starting on D with a D drone, nope. A little bit sadder, right? back to C. D minor. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing, but it's really, really cool to understand that. And as you can see, the same formula, if I was on E, and I started on E, and I went up the E, C major scale, it would be E, F. Look, that degree, starts with a half step. So now the formula from E to F, F to G, G to A to B, B to C, C to D, D to F. It's a half step there. So that would be like a Phrygian mode. If I was to drone this low E and play those notes, oops, no, wrong note, like this. C, D, E, F right here, sorry. A, B, C, D, E, F right here. See, just by droning and emphasizing certain notes, you get a totally different sound. This is still the C major scale. Oops. C major scale. So pretty cool. And what's beautiful about that is you see the formulas of everything and how it changes depending on what note you're starting with. But yeah, half steps, whole steps, and all that groovy stuff right there. So any questions about this stuff, please let me know. Jeffrey Boyle, give you a round of applause. Happy Mother's Day to you. Days. The scales is what we call les gammes in French. Les gammes. The scales. Today we're going to learn how to build les gammes. So when someone says, hey, how do I build that C major scale? Well, we know there's no excuses. We know it's a whole half. So you could think whole half, WWH, WWWH. So it's 2 times and a half, 3 times and a half. So easy when you see it in your head. 2 W's, half. 3 W's, half. Whole half, whole half. Whole half, whole half. No matter where you are, if you're an F, same thing. Whole half, whole half. Anywhere. Got your F right there. Key of F, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're all the same when you know this formula right here. Hello, J. Marquez. J. Marquez. Or Marquise? I don't know. Best guitar scale to learn to shred or solo. That is a question. Best guitar scale to learn to shred or solo. All of them would be the best. I mean, there's more fun scales. I mean, most people play an E, right? E minor would be like a fun one. E is a really good one. the E. E harmonic minor. It's a really nice one. The harmonic minor, people have shredding are Phrygian dominant, you know, it'd be like a. Nope. That's a good one right there too. It's very metal sounding, Phrygian dominant. But all this is the same fundamental right there. And I'll show you real quick. Check this out. Back to here. If we went on this excellent graph that I nabbed from the net, we call it, in the business, we call it NFTN. Nabbed from the net. That's the acronym right there. You know, it's a series of half steps and whole steps. If we play the major scale, starting on the E note, well, let's check out E. E is right there. It's the 8th note right there, right? In the chromatic row right there. So E to F, well, if we're building a major scale, so it'd be E, F sharp. So you got whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So that's the E major scale. It's great that we're doing this in a different key now. We started on C, we're doing the same thing in E. So E to F sharp is a whole step because you have E, F is a half step, F to F sharp is a whole step. So first degree, second degree of the scale. Now to go to the third degree, F sharp to G is a half step, is a whole step. So the second degree of the major scale, the third degree is an F sharp. So you have 1, 2, 3. Look, it's starting to sound like major scale. Right there. Now you have half, so that's A. So you have whole, whole, half already. So you have A. So now you have whole. So you have A sharp, B. And there's your fifth degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then from B, to make another whole step, you have B, B to C, C sharp. Then you have one more whole step, C sharp, past D, go to D sharp, and then E. And there's your major scale. You know, if I wanted to make this minor, a minor scale, see the minor formula is a little bit different. The minor formula, you would go whole, half. That's a minor third right there. Whole, half. Now, the way you could really figure out this minor scale is you could take the 6th degree of this major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the relative minor of E, and it would be like this. Like this. Playing all the notes of the major scale, but landing on C sharp. So it's the same degrees right there. Root, second, minor third. Then the 4th is the same. The 5th is the same. The 6th degree is going to be a half step only. Then you have a whole step, whole step. So a major scale would be and a minor scale would be like this. Just by changing a few notes. You're only changing 3 notes from major to minor. So here's major. So here's minor. That was major. Here's minor. You're changing the third degree so that it's a half step down right here. The fourth is the same. Fifth is the same. Now normally it would be a C sharp there, but you're going to go down a half step to make it a C. Normally the seventh note would be a D sharp. It's going to be a D for D minor, and then E. So major, minor, minor, so sadder. Here's major. Here's minor. And you get blues. Alright. Hopefully you're enjoying this so far. Hit that like button if you are. Give you a round of applause. Jeffrey Boyle, to shred and solo on Guns N' Roses, you must know the slash chords. Yeah, I guess so. There's that, you know, he uses a little bit of the harmonic major in that one riff. It's kind of like a, oops. Something like that. That's over like a B major chord and the E. That's what gives it that that B, this note. B major. Back to the E minor. He starts off. Here's the third of B major, which leads nicely to E minor. Because it's a half step down, it's a leading tone. You know, Slash is great, man. I like his use of the harmonic minor scale, for sure. Excuse me and my cold. So any more questions out there, let me know. Jeffrey Boyle. November Rain. Yep. You have to weep during the November Rain solo to get it right. Yeah, a long time ago when I was first starting to go live, I did the that lick, a lesson on the November Rain solo. Just the... I can't remember what it was and how I did it, but definitely it's the same type of thing. It's a harmonic minor scale. He utilizes switching back and forth between minor and harmonic minor. And what's great about, you know, that is it's really the same thing as this formula right here in the harmonic minor scale. You take the minor scale, you're just changing one note. You're changing the 7th degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From here, you're gonna go up one, up a half step. And then here's the harmonic minor scale. Minor, harmonic minor. So it's a series of half steps that you have to make up these scales. It's a lot easier. I mean, before you get into utilizing this to create any scale, I would recommend just learning the formula of major scale, because within that major scale are different formulas that create modes as well. You know, like we learned the major scale already, right here, which is C major scale. when you learn the natural minor of it, it's A. So if you started with the A and you went up the C major scale, you'd have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That's the A minor scale. And actually, and go to the G chord, F, and went to the E, I could play the A harmonic minor. Because that E note has a major third, which is a G sharp. That's why I changed the G to a G sharp. So I can get that sound. Back to A minor. E. So it's really based on that. You should do a demonstration with capodistry. What is capodistry? Is that like pottery, but with capodistry? No. But Locrian. Locrian is great too. Do the same thing right here with Locrian mode. Start with the C major scale. But if you start on the B, on the 7th degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, B, or here, B right down there. Starting here, from B to B, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. You have a B Locrian. So check it out. I'll create a chord right here. Check this out. I can do it. Why not? We're live. Here's a little drum beat. If I played, check this out, a C major chord. Just a C major chord loop. That's kind of lame. Let's do something a little bit better. Check this out. I'll do something a little lamer. Something a little like that. C major scale. You know? See, it's all just a major scale. Now, if I did something like this, if I played a B minor chord or B diminished chord, check this out. If I play something like this, if I play this, no, not that. That's terrible. Let's try it again. Wait, hold on. We're getting this Locrian for you. Check it out. 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's terrible, but it's just check it out. So the same notes, I'll play the C major scale, you'll get a B Locrian sound. Same notes as major scale. Isn't that crazy? Same exact notes. And if I did something like, if I played an A minor chord, like this. And I played that C major scale, same notes. Same notes. Little harmonic minor. All right. Going off the rails a little bit, but just wanted to give you a little example of where you can go with knowing just a simple formula of how to build scale. Yeah, because I do a bunch of these lessons and stuff, and people seem to get a little confused as far as how to build the scale. They know what scales are, but they don't dig deep to find the actual formula and to study and to dig into the formula. Because just by knowing the one C major scale, a lot of the other scales that you may know and love are built around modes of that scale. And really all the modes are is just formulas based on different starting points. Like, you know, like we were talking about the C major scale gives you whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Well, the Dorian is going to give you something different. It's going to give you whole, half, whole, 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 half, whole. So it's just I don't think of the formulas in that way, but you should. And it's really a good way to do it because you'll start to see where the formulas, where the half wholes lie within where you are, which is really, really cool thing to do. And you start to see that with different modes as well, which is a whole nother lesson, but it's really a lot of fun to look at it that way. So, O-U-I capo. Oh, let me go back here a second with D's. This is the object you place fretboard turns. Oh, okay. You're right. That's right. It's the capo, O capo. Okay. So, yeah. You know, you can get into the C.A.G.E.D system right there, and you don't need a capo anymore. You could take that capo. I got like 4 of them right there. You know what I used it for? To hold my, look, this is what I use my capo for. To hold my thingamajig, my headphone curly cord, so it doesn't like swing all around. I use it, I grab it as like a vice grip type of thing, and I clip it onto my computer table. And so I only have this little bit hanging right there in it. They say mother is the invention, or invention is the mother. What is this? The saying? Necessity is the mother of invention. Come on, I only had 1 cup of coffee. And I've been a little bit sick lately, so we'll wake up eventually. The capo in French. All right, Gene. I don't play loud music at lunch. Gene, is it lunch? It's 1 o'clock here in Brooklyn, New York. Where is it? Where you are? I don't play loud, so you don't have to be loud. I'm not loud. Right now, I'm pretty low. I'm direct. If I kicked on my distortion box. Not the best crunch sound right there, but it's kind of cool. Having some fun with the telly. Smelly telly. Gene Bold. It's how I remember modes. Yeah. Absolutely. It's the best way. Remember modes. I mean, it's just once you get that formula right here stuck in your head of the modes, you start to go, you know what? It's all the same. It's all the same stuff over and over and over again. You know? And of course, you got to take this and take it off the horizontal string and just work it up, going vertically. Same type of thing. So instead of going up horizontally, you go vertically. Same notes, right? But you're going up. So you can go this way and utilize all the strings. Obviously. So you have half step, and it would be just like this, going up this way. You'd have your whole step. So it's beautiful to see vertically what a whole step looks like. So vertically from your A string, D note right here on the 5th fret to the D string, E note, the next note, it's always going to be a 3 frets down. 1, 2, 3, and then 1 string up. That's going to give you an interval of a whole step. Or a second degree, a second interval. So from here to here is the same thing as from here to here. So now you know you got whole step, half step. So you can do the half step there on the D string, half step, then you have whole, again, right there. Then you have whole, so it's the same thing going down from the D string to the next string, the G. You got 3 frets down, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 string up. That'll give you, that's the interval of a whole step. Then you got whole step on the G string, and then C. So you have whole, half, whole, half. What's that one? A vibrato. All right. Great way to remember modes. So any questions about this, please let me know. I got a little cold. Sorry, I'm sniffling, sneezing all over you. But yeah, I just kind of came up with this idea last minute, you know, a lot of the lives I do. I've been out on the road touring, and I get home late last night. I have no clue what I'm going to do here today, and then I wake up, I'm in the shower, I'm washing my hair, and I still don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, oh, got it. And then once I get it in my head what I'm going to do, then we kind of dive into it. So it's not perfect. I don't have a ton of graphs or charts, but I'll edit this down, and I'll put in some real charts that I made and make some more videos out of this. But I like to use your ideas because this comes to me from you guys on questions that you have. So it sticks with me, and I read all the stuff, read all the comments, and I get my best ideas from you. So you'll take this and you go, you know what, I really like this, but here's how I do it, or here's how I find it helpful, or here's where I'd like to go from this. And I go, okay. So it opens up doors for me to figure out what it is that you guys are into. And this, there's one that I missed right here too from, what was it? It's from these. Sotors is only for decoration. Sotors. I didn't catch what that was. Sotors. I think you're allergic to flowers. Maybe, but I have no flowers in here. But I've had this little cold. You know, I've been on airplanes a lot. I was on 6 airplanes in the last 2 days. And, you know, you're stuck in that confined tube in the sky going 600 miles an hour, 37,000 feet in the air. You can catch a lot of things from there, you know. But it's not the worst thing that could happen to me is a little cold here today. A little sniffling. I'm not going to complain too much about that. But I'd hate to be allergic to flowers. I've never been allergic to flowers before. I love flowers. I can use some to brighten up the place a little bit. you know. So I think we went over a lot of cool stuff today. Hopefully I made some sense out of this for you. Any questions, please let me know. Let me know in the comment section. And, I do have a guitar course. Might as well talk about that here real quick. All right, I do have a guitar course. Let's talk about it here. It's called Essential Skills Collection for Guitar. And I go over 4 topics in it. Fretboard memorization. That's where I show a really easy way to learn all the notes all over the fretboard. Very simple way. The circle of fifths is learning the different keys. It's basically what we did today. We learned how to build and create a major scale in every key, or at least in one. Well, that's what the circle of fifths is. You're just taking the same formulas and just moving them in fifths, circle of fifth degrees. Then I go into blues soloing, which I have lots of backing tracks and graphs on, and I really like to focus on just bending in tune, vibrato, some scales you can use over there. Lots of different scales and minor blues and things you could do over that. And then I go to a final thing where where I go over the C.A.G.E.D system based on 2-5-1s. So we use like chord progressions, and we utilize the C.A.G.E.D system, which is really, really essential, I believe, in learning chords all over the fretboard. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description for my guitar course, Essential Skills. I appreciate that. Thank you. And let's see, what amp use for this session? Well, I'm not using an amp right now. I'm going direct. But what I use is my guitar straight into a little pedal board that I have. And it's a tuner. I have a little boost on right here. You know, it's for the telly because it's kind of low output. Here's without it. This little boost just boosts it up a little bit. It's really natural sounding. It's an LPB1. And everything I use right here is actually in the description. In the description shows all my gear right there. So check that out when you can. And I have a distortion, a delay unit, a looper, and then my MIDI switch where I could do some loops and change between them, which is really cool. But essentially the amp, though, is this whole pedal board. You could plug it right into I have a Strymon Iridium, which is like a modeler pedal. Okay, so that's essentially just like an amp. It's set up to sound like a clean, like a blues deluxe. So here's what nothing on. This is like straight into the Iridium. That's like an amp, but it's a modeler. Of course, it's a little bit low. You know, little boost. Anyway, so then it goes from the Iridium right into my computer, to the interface. So when you want to do this, you want to plug guitars into computers, you have to have an interface, right? And there's lots of different types of interfaces. Mine is the Apollo Twin that I have. It's universal audio. I bought it for recording so that you could plug pedal boards, whatever, your guitar straight into the universal audio Apollo Twin. It's a quad core one. It means it has a lot of memory inside of it. And then with that, you could open up a console on the computer so that you could dial in different plugins and this and that. So it's pretty cool. No amp, going direct into the computer. Long story short, no amp, direct into the computer. So essentially, I don't even need any of this stuff. I can go guitar straight into the Apollo Twin, into the computer. And what that Apollo Twin does is it opens up a studio like application, or they call it a console, and you could add plugins to it, different guitar sounds or different EQs, compressors. I only have reverb. That's where my reverb is coming from. Hear that? That reverb is a plug-in on the console. So I have reverb and I have a little bit of compression on it, just to, control it a little bit. So that's it. Then it allows you to plug into things like the Iridium, which gives it more of an amp sound. I find that it works pretty good with pedals, because you plug the pedal board directly into the Apollo Twin, and it doesn't register as well as it does going into the Strymon Iridium. So it's almost like playing live with a direct sound, only I'm going into I could do the same thing live. I could take this pedal board, as long as I'm plugging into the modeler, that modeler can go right into the PA system and then amplify everything. If I took just the pedal board into a PA, that'll sound like fuzz. It just doesn't convert. This is converting, to digital into a digital sound right there. So anyway, it works pretty good. There's lots of ways to do it. I use the Friedman IRX when I'm out on the road and touring, because that has 2 channels and it's got knobs on it. It's really easy to use and it sounds really good. The distortions is just really, really nice, and the clean channel, it's really nice as well. But this the Iridium for right here in the clean sound, really, really nice clean, Really bright. To mellow it out. Some guy. Oh, actually, let's see. You should use the Fender Mustang Micro. Fender Mustang Micro. I've heard of that. So that's kind of like the Iridium, a little bit. Excuse me. Sounds cool. I mean, I have an amp, a Mustang that I bought, and I only used it like once or twice, and it's sitting right over there. I don't know if you could see it, but I have a Fender Deluxe Reverb. Love that amp, but I just don't use it too much anymore because it's loud and I can't really play it in this apartment. So, but right in front of it is a Mustang, the new digital Fender Mustang, and I have the foot switch with it, and I bought it. I spent like $400 on this amp for 1 gig, and I wound up not really using it how it's meant to be. I plugged right into the, I used this setup with the Iridium, and I went right into the power to the, I use that. I just went directly into the effects return and used it as a power amp. But it really didn't sound that great that way, But what's cool is that Fender Mustang amp has a lot of stuff, has lots of cool like sounds in it, which I never really utilized before because I have all those sounds. But it's unique, and it's a pretty cool amp. And I think that might have some features to go out into a recording session as well. It might be USB to get those sounds, but I don't really need to break it out. So it's just sitting there, I hate it. I look at it and I go, wow, I want to fire that up and just have some fun with it. But I think it might be the same thing as the Fender Mustang Micro, only in an amp version of it. And pardon me if I'm really talking really fast. The coffee's kicking in, and that's what happens when I get excited. And 2 Blues DeVilles and a Deluxe. Wow, is that what you have? But some guy, I used the real Iridium 192 for Gamma Ray. What's the real Iridium 192? Okay, so that's another type of Iridium. Well, the company is Strymon. The Iridium is the pedal. So you're saying you use the real Iridium 192 for Gamma Ray. I don't know what that is. But two Blues DeVille. I love DeVille's as well. They have their 212 version or a 410 version. I've used those. I can't really tell which one I like best. You know, it all depends on the speakers and how beat up the amp is, right? You know, I played a 410. It sounded great. And I played 212s, and I swore those were better. But I tend to like deluxes. Just nothing like a, 140 watt, powerful. I mean, a deluxe you can get away with playing anywhere, I think. And it's not as not it is with battery. You can use it with headphones or else. Yeah, with the Fender, the Mustang thing, or whatever amp you're talking about. If it's you're talking about the Mustang Micro. I think that amp has a headphone out as well, which is kind of cool. And I have the Mustang 3. It's not the same thing. I forgot what my amp is. It's a Mustang. It might be a Mustang 3. It's a newer. It's only a couple years old. And Jeffrey, your stream sounds great on YouTube through an Android cell phone. Oh, well, that's good. I mean, if it sounds decent on a phone, it's cool. And it's an isotope. Isotope. What is that? And Days. Have the Deluxe. Yeah, Deluxe is great. Absolutely love Fender Deluxe. It's what this Strymon Iridium. It's kind of based off of the Deluxe sound. And real clean. Just a little blues and fun. Busch Gardens Tampa fan. Hello from Busch Gardens Tampa. And love it out there in Busch Gardens. Boy, do I love it. Every time I go there, I have lunch with the ostriches. Except the last time, one attacked me. I said to myself, you know what? I'm thinking, I'm pondering, I'm wondering about my life. I'm sitting there having lunch at Busch Gardens Tampa from playing gigs at Stanleyville Theater there, and you get this lunch coupons, and you get to go to this place that has way too much food for one coupon. You get like a chicken. It used to be a combination. You get chicken, ribs, and a pork chop, something like that. This huge pile of meat right there, right? So you're sitting out there, and I've been doing it there for off and on for many, many years. So it gets very nostalgic, you know. You're sitting out there, and you just like the view, and there's little birds, or these ostriches. I don't even know if they're ostriches, but they have these long legs, and they walk around, and they don't, not supposed to really feed them, but they don't really get in your way. But the last time I was there, I'm thinking about my life and everything, and all the times that I've been there, and thinking about stuff, and all of a sudden, one of these ostriches just like flew up and landed on my table, and I'm like, whoa! Like he really wanted, and I was almost done with it, And he was getting closer, and I was trying to like shoo him away, but that bird was like. And there was like 3 other ones watching, and they were like, "Man, I don't think this is like right, like, really cool what he's doing, Like his friends, are watching him doing something stupid, but they want to see how far he can get away with it, right? But he won because I was like, I want no part of this bird. He started getting closer and closer and closer. I'm like, you know what? If you really want this bad enough, you take it. And I left. But then I watched to see. And, you know, so the bird, I'm not sure what he did, but they got me. So that was my last memory of Busch Gardens, and I might not want to go eat back there with the ostriches anymore because they were threatening me. So some guy, the periodic table. It's an interstope. That's the periodic table? Sounds like a science class right there. Brian R., hello, give you a round of applause. How's it going, Brian? The GTX Mustang amps are similar to the Mustang Micro Pro. Okay, yeah. The GTX Micro amp. I have to look up and see what model I have of that amp. But the Mustang LT amps are different. Yeah, I paid about $400 brand new. It's a digital amp. I bought the pedal board separately as a special order, actually. And like I said, I never used it for its, you know, full functions for all the sounds that it has. And where are you, Jerry? I'm watching from New Hampshire. Oh, so do you have one of those accents, like the Boston accent from New Hampshire? I am in Brooklyn, New York, right here by Prospect Park, just outside Manhattan. And yeah, I've been out here for like almost 7 years. I was in the city for like 10 years before that in Chinatown. And but here in Brooklyn, New York, right by the park. It's beautiful, right by Prospect Park. Some guys, that's foul. Yeah. What those ostriches did to me was very foul. I should just ate the bird. You know, and I'm thinking about it. I'm going, you know what? These birds want to eat my chicken? That's a little weird. I don't know. Go ahead. Whatever floats your boat. And Bush Gardens. Yeah, earlier we saw the ibis go on the table to steal chicken tenders. Yeah. Oh, so, okay, so you noticed that too. Are you always there, Busch Gardens fan? Earlier, we saw an ibis. What is an ibis? Is that like what I'm thinking the ostriches are? Go on the table and steal a chicken tender. Oh, man, if you're hungry, you know. Hey, what are you going to do? If I was hungry, I'd steal a chicken tender too, you know, if I had to. If I didn't have a job, you know. I'd probably try to get a job first, but if I was really hungry, I would steal a chicken tender. For sure. Gotta do what you gotta do, right? So, yes, everything ends with instead of like ova instead of over. Ova. Oh, yeah? Okay. Oh, yeah. In New Hampshire. I have to think about that if I'm doing my impersonation. Instead of Right, I like that. Like, ova. Over here. That's great. Ova. Not over. Ova. I love it. All right, so we had a good time going over a little bit here today, but it's all right. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, and Brian and Busch Gardens and Jeffrey and some guy and everyone who popped in for a while and Deezed. And Jeffrey, I got you. And yeah, really, really cool. Gene, thanks for popping in. Any questions about this stuff, let me know in the comments. Probably going to go live again next Sunday if I'm here. If not, usually we push it back a day or so. But I think it's possible for Sunday as well next week. So look forward to seeing you there. And remember, I have another, if you want to see another video, let's see right here. I want to know, I asked this question earlier already, but in what way do you know how to build scales? I want to know how you do it, besides the way I do it with half steps and whole steps. Let me know in the comment section, and I would love to know that. Good live. Thanks, Jerry and friends. Thank you, Brian. Dover, not Dover. Yeah. Everything's with an instead of an Yeah, I love that. I love that. And so... yeah, I just wanted to say that, remember, be cool, be kind, be cherry, and if you want to see another video on how to learn to identify the 7 diatonic chords like we built today in every major key, check that out right there. Until then, I'll see you next week in the next video. Cheers, everyone. Love you. Happy Mother's Day, and enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.